Michael Jackson wasn't just the king of pop. He was the architect of an entire era of music, dance, and visual storytelling. You see, before the moonwalk lit up the stage, before the Thriller jacket became a Halloween staple, before even the Bad era redefined what it meant to be cool in the 80s, Michael was a kid soaking up the world around him, borrowing, learning, and remixing until he built something only he could create. He truly was a man who perfected his work. In this video, I want to explore two things. First, the roots, where his earliest sparks of inspiration came from, and how they lit the fire that gave us my favorite works from him, in both Thriller and Bad. And second, a theme that's just as important, not always discussed, the way that Michael turned that inspiration into a larger cultural force, shaping how we think about music, performance, what it means to be a real star. I want to start by covering one of my favorite moves of all time. It's the moonwalk. And you see, that move, it didn't just come out of nowhere. It started with James Brown. Michael talked about it himself at Brown's funeral in 2006, calling him, quote, "my greatest inspiration," end quote. When Michael was just 6, his mom would make him sit down and watch whenever James Brown came on TV. And it stuck. The footwork, the energy, the way Brown could own a stage. Michael said he was mesmerized, and in that moment knew, quote, "that's what I want to do for the rest of my life."
You have to like it to be in it this long.
Yeah.
Or you'd go crazy.
Now fast forward a couple decades, and you see it. During his Billie Jean performance in 1983, Michael unveiled the moonwalk, a move that echoed Brown's slick, gliding steps, but was transformed into something entirely his own. And though James Brown may have been a significant inspiration in his life, it was also those that were around him as he grew up.
Where did the moonwalk come from, actually?
Well, the moonwalk came from these beautiful children, these black kids who live in the ghettos and, the inner cities, who are brilliant. They just have that natural talent for dancing. Any of the new the Running Man, any of these dances, they come up with these dances. All I did was enhance the dance.
Okay, I want to see you dance. I want to see you dance.
I'm a little rusty right now.
A little rusty.
What I have not yet mentioned in this video is that Jackson actually debuted more than just his moonwalk that night. In fact, he debuted his fedora look for the very first time in this exact same performance. You see, this wasn't a hat that Michael just pulled out of a closet. It was custom made for him before Motown 25 by the Maddest Hatter after he had made a very specific request. According to Art Page's 2023, Jackson requested, "Please, order me a spy hat, like a cool fedora, something that a secret agent would wear. I wanted something sinister and special, a really casual hat. I still didn't have a very good idea of what I was going to do with Billie Jean." And this spy hat request, it wasn't random. You see, Michael had been wearing fedoras since the 70s with the Jackson 5 to give himself a more mature and elegant look. But his choice for Motown 25 drew heavily from the noir and gangster icons of cinema around this time. People like Humphrey Bogart and Frank Sinatra. The fedora had that shadowy movie star mystique he could weave into his performance, which added a kind of suspense before the big moment. And his mystery mystique is exactly why Jackson was so successful. But the story of his iconic fedora didn't end there. When the performance was over, Michael tossed it over to the side of the stage. It wasn't retrieved by his crew. It was actually caught by Adam Kelly, a die-hard fan sitting front row with a VIP badge. Kelly kept it for years, even getting a certificate of authenticity signed by Michael himself, and had MJ and the date 3/25/83 engraved inside. Personally, I don't think I could ever put a price on something like that. But something that you can't put a price on is Jackson's glove. Just not this color. Many people say that Jackson debuted the glove to hide the early signs of vitiligo that he was experiencing, but Michael himself said, "I felt that one glove was cool. Wearing two gloves seemed so ordinary." The most interesting origin story of the glove comes from John Key, who worked with Michael when he visited the production company Robert Abel and Associates in 1980. Key recalls that an editor was wearing a plain white cotton glove on one hand. Michael, who hadn't shown any particular enthusiasm for his tour so far, suddenly lit up. And from then on, his innovative enthusiasm was more than clear.
I have something I want to tell you.
Yes, Michael?
I'm not like other guys.
The final piece of Michael Jackson's culture I'd like to touch on is his undeniable impact with the Thriller dance. What came with Thriller was a 14-minute short film that fused horror, dance, and pure spectacle. It was inspired by the movie An American Werewolf in London, where Michael teamed up with director John Landis and legendary makeup artist Rick Baker, who I have pulled an interview with, to pull off something that no pop star had ever attempted.
But it was because of American Werewolf that Thriller happened. Michael Jackson loved American Werewolf and wanted to do a similar thing. I started kicking around ideas. I always thought it would be funny to do a musical zombie thing. The thing that came first was Michael wanted to do a transformation, and then John just said, get some ideas. It was right around that same time that we were in pre-production on Thriller that there was that Motown Awards or whatever it was when Michael did the moonwalk thing for the first time. One of the guys videotaped it. And he said, you're not going to believe that this kid that was sitting here is the same guy, And he showed me this videotape, and I was like, I can't believe that this is the same guy. I mean, he is this quiet, shy, just like little, kind of introverted guy in person. And when he's on stage, this whole other persona comes out, and he's amazing.
Thriller was born from old inspirations, from classic horror, from transformation effects, and dance styles. But what Jackson does is he elevates things into something brand new. And just like the moonwalk, he didn't invent Thriller, he perfected it.